Hey guys, Carl here, Cultivate with Carl, and it is a beautiful day here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Zone 9A, about 2 blocks away from the Gulf of Mexico, here in good old Biloxi, Mississippi. Today we've got a garden update. I'm going to show you around the garden, and we're going to look and see how things are progressing. Finally, is the first day I've really had to sit down and get out here and do some work. So last week I was able to get out here and weed eat, but the weather wasn't really cooperating. In fact, yesterday we had like a surprise super rainstorm. It wasn't forecasted. It was supposed to be blue skies, and then bam, it's kind of like a mini flood. So that's okay because the garden loved it, and that's going to be to our advantage because we get to get out here now and put in our plants. So all those little red solo cups over there you see are our starts that we started inside the house. And now they've been hardened off. I've been having them outside now for about a week or so, and they are ready to be planted in the garden. So there is an abundance. You'll see when we do the tour. There's more than I can use, but the plan is already. I have some gardening friends, and we're going to hand out the rest to them, which is really cool. Here in the old lettuce bed, it's time for the radishes to come out. The radishes are done. They've all grown and matured. I think some are probably been in the ground too long. I've never grown radishes before, and I've looked up things to do with them to eat. So what I'll do is I'll combine some of them with the lettuce, the butter crunch lettuce here, and we'll make some salads, and then I guess roasting them is something. So if you've got a good idea what you do with your radishes, go ahead and put a comment down below and let me know what you do with them. I've seen people roast them or grill them. I don't know. This will be my first time eating radishes, so we'll see. Hopefully I like them. But before we get on, squirrel patrol. Before we move on, it's a good start to the year. Let's just be happy things are going our way. I think it's important now more than ever that you be doing something like this and getting the experience and helping grow yourself and your family some food. I think times are coming. We might have to have a skill like this, so just be prepared. So without further ado, let's go on that garden tour. All right, guys, here's the lettuce beds. As you can see, we've got a bunch of the butter crunch lettuces coming up, and the radishes. My goodness, these things have gotten huge. Now I don't know if they're supposed to be that big, but it sure looks good. So we're gonna pull all these today, and I guess you can eat the greens too. So what we'll do is chop them up, clean them, and put them in the lettuce bowl. I need lettuce this week for work, so we're going to eat up all this stuff this week. But the butter crunch came out good. We really didn't have any problems with pests. I did split it up a little bit and move it around, and so some of it grew a little bit more. Like this little fella right here, he's a little smaller than the other plants, but hopefully they'll grow to be full-size lettuces just like the others. But so radishes and everything did well. Pretty excited about that. Okay, here in this pot we have our Yukon Golds, and these are potatoes, and I'm going to spend a little time today healing these up a little bit, which means I'm just going to add a little extra dirt to the bottoms of the plants. Hopefully it'll produce more potatoes, but the fact that the tops of these plants have gotten as tall as they have, and the fact that they're the nice green that they are, is indicative of the fact that there was a lot of good nitrogen in that bed. This was a bed that had a lot of the horse manure in it, and some of the tops have just kind of started to flop over because they got too tall, but that's okay. These are 90-day potatoes, so about the 1st of June these plants will start to die off, and then soon thereafter it'll be time to get some potatoes out of the ground. Over here we have a couple of the other types of potatoes. I can't see the name tags, but these are, I'll find the name tags later, but these are 2 different types of potatoes. You can see the 2 different type of plants. That's different from this type of plant here. And these were the latter ones we put in, but they're all doing well. The irrigation system was pretty cool. The irrigation system gets these, but we've had so much rain, the 2 that are in the bags, they're doing equally as well because we've had so much rain. So as far as potatoes go, here, all these are more potatoes down the row here. All the big plants anyway. And they're getting really big. Now these were the potatoes that were the 100-day potatoes. And, you know, I'm not sure how they're going to fare with the heat. But so far in the start, they seem to be doing really well. And we'll see how it goes. You know, let's see if I can bend down here and get this tag and see which ones these were. These were the German Butterballs. Yeah, so the German Butterballs in here. Oh, let me show you something real quick. So if you have these type of name tags, you can get them off of Amazon pretty cheap. And I always had the problems with the Sharpie marker fading off. So what I did was I put a piece of packing tape over it, and that prevents it from fading off or washing off with the rain. So you can see I put the date that these are potatoes, German Butterball, and they should be ready or at maturity on the 6th of July. And then I put the tape on the top, and then they just go right back down into there. And that helps me keep track, because you guys know, if you watch me, I'm terrible at keeping track. Now here, I would call these little potato failures, and these were, heck, I don't know. But they were 110-day potatoes. I didn't write which type they were on there, which is typical for me. But these 4 buckets, the potatoes have not come up. I believe that to be a weed. So what we're going to do is we're going to reuse the dirt in these buckets to hill up the other potatoes. But all the other potatoes are doing fine. There we go. All right, and of the potatoes, these are the Nordic Reds, and they're doing about the best. I can see some pest damage in there, and I'm going to get out here with some stuff for snails and caterpillars. But I'll be hitting these soon with BT for caterpillars and neem oil for aphids. So it's starting to warm up now, so we could expect probably to see. But see, I don't know what I'm going to do about squirrel patrol. You see the squirrel patrol down there? That's why those my cucumbers aren't doing really well. Because, look, Ruby of the squirrel patrol is sitting in my potato, or in my cucumber. Ruby, what you doing? What you doing in my pot there, buddy? Yep, they know they're guilty. Okay, here in this bed we have our squash and zucchini. You have squash on the right, zucchini on the left, and they appear to be doing really well. This, you know, being that we have such a problem with the vine borers, may be the only squash and zucchini we get rolling. So they appear to be doing pretty good, especially the squash is starting to take off. The zucchini is getting pretty leggy, and it's going really well. The water system seems to be, as it heats up, you know, warping under the heat. So I'm going to have to put a brick down there to hold that down. But the water system works fine. We've gone in and replaced all the heads, and everything that we have to do with it is done really well. So I'm pretty happy with the in-ground irrigation. I really have to stop procrastinating and get the other beds done. You'll see here in a minute. Let's just skip right on over here to the starts. Okay, let's take a look at the tomato lineup for this year. And these are the tomatoes that I'm going to plant. And I've got my beds broken down into indeterminate, determinate, and cherry. So we're going to have 3 beds or something thereof. But the first variety we have is it's called a Florida 91. It is a hybrid tomato, and it is made supposedly to do well in the heat, designed to grow in Florida. And I think I got this one from Haas Tools. It is a determinate tomato, and that means it's going to grow up to a certain height, pump out all its tomatoes, and then pretty much be done. But that's what I'm looking for, because what I'll do come July is I'll pull all the determinates out and I'll replace them with okra or something. The first indeterminate we have is the German Johnson. And all my German Johnson plants are doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. Supposedly a big indeterminate tomato and pretty nice. Then we have the Sun Gold cherry tomato, and it's supposed to put out. Now last year we had Sun Gold tomatoes, if you remember, and they came out kind of orange, and they looked and they were very delicious. So I like those a bunch. We're going to try this Jubilee tomato, and I believe the Jubilee tomato was a yellow tomato. It is an indeterminate, therefore it's going to grow pretty big. And what I'm going to do in these indeterminate beds, I'm probably only putting 2 of each, 2 or 3 of each. I'm not going to overcrowd the beds like I did last year. Then we'll have the celebrity tomato, which I'm going to probably plant more celebrities than most anything. They are a good producer here in this zone, and they are determinate tomato, so I'll get a lot of good medium-sized, tomatoes from there. Maybe not sandwich size, but things that you can use in salads and other things like that. The next one we have is called the Garden Leader Monster. It is a determinate, and that plant makes some big old tomatoes. I got their Ferry Morris brand, so you can get it at the big box store where they have the Ferry Morris displays, but it's called the Garden Leader Monster Tomato. And let me tell you, they were pretty good last year and pretty durable. Outlasted the bugs and the heat pretty well. So I'll be planting a few more of those than not. My Cherokee Purple starts did not do really well at all. And these I bought at the store. And I'm going to be planting some Cherokee Purples. Then there are some Sweet 100s. Now, if you can see that Sweet 100, it already has flowers on it in the container. And what we're going to do is we're going to pinch those flowers off because we want the plant to worry about producing plant and not tomatoes at this point in its life. And so that's also a sign of distress for young plants that are at the store. So if you go to the store to buy tomatoes and they're flowering already, you're not getting a jump on the game. What you're getting is a plant that's in distress. So it's like, hey, things are not environmentally right for me at this point. Let's try and pump out some tomatoes and complete my mission of moving on the gene seed. And then the last one I have down there, and I believe it's an indeterminate, it's a Lemon Boy, and that's going to be another yellow tomato. So pretty much that's the tomato lineup this year. Hopefully it'll do well. We had a few last year that just didn't do us right, but we did have a lot of bug pressure last year, so we'll see what happens. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort through all of these to get the healthiest tomatoes, and I'm going to put them in my garden. And then, if it looks like they're not going to make it, I'll probably get rid of them. And then the ones that are in the middle, I'm going to hand off to friends. So way over there in that bucket, those are some Everglades tomatoes. They're like a weed / tomato plant that grow a lot in Florida. And they supposedly thrive in the heat and they grow like a weed, but it's a cherry tomato that's supposed to be really good. Just about everything else you see back there, especially in this tin right here, is all peppers, and all the peppers are going in buckets this year. And then way over here, I've got a couple extra peppers, but I also have my pollinators. The tall ones you see on the left are sunflowers. The ones you see in the middle are zinnias, and the ones that didn't come up were marigolds. So we're going to try again with the marigolds before we go buy some from the store. I'm going to try planting some marigolds out in the, I'm going to flip you around. I'm going to try planting marigolds out in the garden beds and see if they'll grow like that. But if they don't, we'll just go to the store and buy some. I think that's about it for tomatoes. So that's the big deal for today, the tomatoes, getting them in the ground. So let's go look at the rest of the beds and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, here, this is going to be the indeterminate bed with the trellis. This will be the determinate bed. And you can see I've already got 2 store-bought plants in there. We're going to have a discussion about that in the next video. And then over here, this is the one I'm going to do the cherry tomatoes in. Or I may mix the cherry tomatoes in and use this for something else. We have to figure it out. But check these out. These have been in the ground about 3 weeks. And they're already this big. And one of them's the Bush Goliath, and I believe the other one is a celebrity. So, when you're determining if you're going to grow seeds from start, or if you're going to buy from the store, there's what it looks like. I put these in the ground about 3 weeks ago from the store. I put these, have been growing for about a month or so in the pots. In the house. They've been growing in the system in the house. So, we'll have a talk about that here. I'm going to make a video on that by itself. All right, let's go. Okay, coming down the pot row. This guy right here, this has been a bug trap. They were cabbages, and obviously I'm using them as a bug trap. They're about to get pulled out and thrown away, not going into compost because of the bugs. This is where the zinnias are going to go. I temporarily put some onions in here, but a lot of the peppers are going to be planted in these plants, these planters, so that they'll grow really well. I'm going to check on the status of all these carrots. These carrots are all probably getting ready to come out. That bed has got some weeds in it, plus carrots, plus onions. That cabbage probably getting ready to come out. I'm going to clear these beds. And if they're not ready, guess what? They're not ready. I mean, that's just how it is. These things have been growing since, gosh, I think December. Let's pull this one out and see what we get. We're not getting anything. Yeah, so let's see. We should at least have something on this. Look, yeah, oh yeah, there you go. So, I don't think it's worth it. I've not had a lot of luck with carrots. And okay, through the weeds here, you can see that the sweet potatoes are starting to pop. Those are all sweet potato plants. Over here, there, and through there. There's a couple of weeds in there. I'll go through and hand pick them out. But this is where going to be the home of the sweet potatoes. And I'll be honest with you, other than throwing some fertilizer on them and keeping the weeds down, I'm not really doing a lot with these. We're just going to see how much they grow on their own. The rest of the area, I'm going to de-weed pretty well. And we'll see how well it goes. I've never grown sweet potatoes before, so we'll check that out. Well, guys, looks like I'm having some type of problem with pests in my cucumbers. And the cucumbers are in the buckets and the bags all along the fence. And something has just been happening to them. I can't really put my finger on it as to what. But, I mean, they're not growing. They look a little smush and compacted. And I really think that something's getting to them. And I can't explain, or I don't know what. You know, there was some kind of pest. I'm sure the squirrel patrol would take care of it. Oh yeah, look at that. So I've solved the riddle of what's happening with my cucumbers. Because if you look just a couple down, the buckets are fine, but in that bag right there, the cucumber plants that I put in there are all smushed. And so that has to be because my squirrel patrol has taken to reclining into the bags. So either I will have to switch out the buckets or I'll have to elevate the bags to keep the squirrel patrol out of them. But she's looking pretty comfy, I think. Doesn't she look comfy? Yeah, squirrel patrol. Good Lord. He's fucking... 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys. Alright, so that's it for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, so that's it for the garden tour. Everything is doing well. I'm pretty happy with the progress on the potatoes. I'm pretty happy with the progress on the lettuce. And we're going to get those seedlings in the ground today. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I'm going to do seedlings again next year. I know how to do it now. I've had some success at it and I've learned the skill. I may next year just try and get things from the store, you know, except for maybe 1 or 2 varieties. We'll see. I mean, you saw the difference between the celebrity tomatoes that I planted inside the house and how tall they are as opposed to the ones that I got from the store at about the same time. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know what I'm going to do about the dachshunds in the pots. They're killing all my cucumbers, so I'll have to figure out something. Probably put up some goat fence or something like that. But yeah, that's it. I'm pretty happy. So the rest of today, I'll be planting. Next week, we'll have another update. We're going to go back to the weekly update format. And for those of you who haven't followed the channel before, you know, we learn as we go along. This is only my 2nd year fully gardening. And so I make a lot of mistakes. And I'll pass those mistakes on to you as I make them. Like, for example, I've probably allowed the old radishes to be in the ground a little bit too long. But some are only this big, and some of them are this big. So I don't know if a radish is supposed to look like this. All the ones I see in the videos, they don't look like this. But this thing is, that's pretty honking big. But they're all coming out of the ground today. So we've got to put on other stuff. So there we go. But, so stick around the channel. We'll learn together. If you see a mistake that I'm making that you've made before in the past, throw me a comment. I read all the comments. I respond to most of them. And, you know, together we can learn. And I think that's the whole purpose of the channel. Plus, it marks my hobby progress, and I'm pretty happy with that. So, until next time, it's Carl from Cultivate with Carl, and we'll see you again soon. And oh, and always, as always, get a hobby, get outside, and do some fun stuff.